Hey guys, it's Victoria. Welcome to today's video. To be honest, it's late tonight. It's like almost 6 o'clock and I really don't need to do my makeup today. I just really want some time with you guys and just to play with some makeup. So I thought it might be fun to just do a fun holiday look together. FYI, kind of a little spoiler. This is the holiday look that we're going to be doing today. So if you want a tutorial on how to get this is what we're going to do today. Or you can just watch and hang out with me. I would love that too. Okay. Let's get back to the beginning. This is probably one of the easiest and simplest holiday looks that you can do. And the coolest thing about this is when you get down to the last step, it's really up to you what you want to do with that last step, that last pop. So let's go ahead and get started by putting on some primer. I originally wanted to do just like either all drugstore items or kind of stick to all high-end just to do one or the other, but then I thought about it and I was like, you know what, I really just want to sit down and film this today, and I don't have all drugstore products for a full face, I'm surprised to say. Today's not going to be one or the other, it's just going to be kind of both. So let's go ahead and start with the combo of two different primers. I've really been loving the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. I go back and forth between a lot of different primers, but one that has stayed super consistent the last couple months is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is seriously the only primer that has managed to actually fill my pores the best. I haven't found one that's been able to vanish them completely, which is fine. I have large pores. That's okay. But this one has super helped to diminish them. If you wanted to go high end, Tarte's Smoothing Primer is also super fantastic, but honestly, you guys, this one works better and it's only $8 compared to like $29 or $30 or something like that. Since I have both, sometimes I actually like to go with this one and then do this one on top, and then it's like ultra level of pore minimization. That's the fun combo. Okay. So, starting with primer, I'm going to just use a little bit of that, warm it up in my hands first, and just press it into the skin. I like to work this mostly on the outer edges of the skin and then my forehead, and kind of just like do pressing motions and light sweeping motions just to kind of really get it into the skin. Okay. Now that that's on, I like to go in with the Poreless Putty Primer. I usually just will take my middle finger and just like swoop it around in there so I have a little bit on there. And then mix it on my fingertips. And then again, just press it into the skin. But here, I like to do it just in the areas that I need help minimizing. So mostly my cheeks and my nose, and a little bit on my forehead and my chin. When you do a primer, it's usually good to let it sit in your skin for like 20 to 30 seconds. So what I like to do while the primer is just kind of settling in and doing its thing is I'm going to grab my beauty blender and go and get this wet before we can move in with foundation. The sad thing with foundation, you guys, is that like 75% of my foundations are actually way too dark for me. I used to tan a lot, so a lot of my foundations are just like so tan. Now moving into winter, I'm just like, I mean, look how pale. I would love to go in with a drugstore foundation. I enjoy mixing the Maybelline Fit Me and the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation. This stuff is like ultra full coverage, and this stuff's a little bit more lightweight, still full coverage, but more kind of on the dewy side, if I'm being honest. Even though this is the matte and poreless, this on my skin gets dewy really fast because it does not hold back the oils, versus this definitely does. So I've actually been liking to mix the two because this one's just a little bit too light. This is the shade 235, but it's actually too light. I want to go get a different one from the drugstore, but like I said, I didn't want to go anywhere tonight. So we're just going to do what I normally do, and we're going to mix these two together. I have a small little glass palette, so what I usually like to do is just 2 drops of this, but I'm going to just do 1.5. So a little bit of Estee Lauder. Oh my gosh! I am just dropping everything. Downside of having a glass table is all these glass bottles like clinkety clackety. Okay. So then I like to pour a little bit of this. This comes out super quickly, so you have to kind of be careful. So I'm just going to do just a smidge. Come on, I have to go grab a towel. So I like to utilize my resources, you guys, and you might laugh at me, but I got sent this little sample packet of lipsticks, and in it was this like little tiny paintbrush. It's so tiny. So I do use this to apply those lipsticks sometimes, but I use the back of it as like my little stir stick for my palette. Hey, whatever works, right? Again, Like I said, utilizing resources. Okay, I'm just gonna take the back of my beauty blender and just tap it once on here, and then I'm gonna start kind of tapping lightly all over the face. Lately, for some reason, when I put on my foundation, my nose always itches so bad. I'll put it on and then it's like right underneath my nose. I'm just like, oh, almost every time. I don't know if it's just the weather or what. It just itches. Next would be concealer. I actually like to mix 2 different shades of concealer as well. So I have the Jeffree Star Concealer in the shade C3. I have the shade C11, I think it is, coming soon, and I hope that shade will just be a little bit lighter so then I won't have to mix 2, but for now I'm taking C3 and we're gonna mix that with Fenty shade 185, and this is way more of a warm tone, so the 2 mixed together is kind of like perfect. Otherwise it's just way too light just doing the Jeffree Star, or it's too dark doing just the Fenty. I like to experiment sometimes and just kind of find like the perfect shade. It's not a bad thing to mix your foundations or your concealers and stuff. Like, oh my gosh, the Estee Lauder and the Maybelline. Honestly, the Maybelline just does not work for my skin just normally. My skin gets so oily with that. But for some reason, compared with the Estee Lauder, it's awesome. Like the 2 combined work so good. All right, let's get out some powder. I'm gonna use the Palladio Rice Powder. This was one of the best Amazon finds ever, you guys. Seriously, I think it's only like $4 or maybe it's $6, but it is so good. It honestly works so amazing. So whenever I like just don't want to use one of my high-end powders, this stuff is one that I always reach for. I do have like Coty Airspun, but that one for some reason just makes my skin a little bit too dry. So it's not my favorite to use. Do you guys have any big holiday parties this winter? We're going to one tomorrow. My husband has a work holiday party tomorrow, so that's what I'll be wearing this look to. Honestly, I don't know why I'm filming this day early. I should have waited and just filmed it tomorrow. So next we're gonna move on to some contour. I think for this look, I wanna go a little bit heavier on the contour just because of the bold lip that we're gonna do. I think we need to warm up the face just a little bit more just to kind of balance it a little bit. I'm gonna take just my MAC Studio Fix palette. I'm gonna go in with this medium shade right in the center, and then we're gonna do tapping motions. I like to place it like right about here, kind of right underneath my, what's this called? Cheekbone. Right underneath my cheekbone. And of course, I'm placing some right along my jawline, moving it down a little. And I'm gonna take this brush. This is actually a shade brush, like a crease brush from Moda Brushes, but I love to use it to contour my nose. I need to brush off a little bit of that translucent powder though, really quick. I'm gonna take this middle shade again with just the crease brush, and I wanna work it right down my nose. Okay, so after we do that, I want to just take a little bit of this darker shade right here on the end. Just going to use that same brush, and then we're going to just go right on top of that, just kind of darkening it a little bit, but I'm being very gentle. And the last step that I like to do in this part, I love to use this little pencil brush from Urban Decay, and I dip into this yellow shade, and I just kind of do tap it off, and then I go right down the bridge of the nose. Right down the center. And then I take the other side of the brush and I do upward motions, kind of blending those two together. I want to deepen the contour a little bit more. I don't usually do this like every single time, but when I feel like I just want it to be a little bit more dramatic, that's when I like to go in with this like angled brush, and then I'll work it just kind of in the back, kind of towards my ear. Kind of tap in circular motions. I'll just blend it back there, and I'll blend it up a little ways too. Again, just tap. I do that same thing for both sides. So a little bit up here, a little bit under here. Last but not least is a little bit of bronzer, and I just want to take a little bit. Oh my goodness, this from Physicians Formula is so pigmented. So I take just a big fluffy brush, and then I just kind of tap that and then go right on top just to kind of warm up that area just a little bit more. Let's just move in with some blush. You guys, this is my new favorite. It is so pretty. I honestly want to get this in more shades. This is the Ciate London Marbled Light Blush in the shade Dusk. So, so beautiful. So I'm going to just tap some of that, and it is so pigmented. Brush picks up so much. I usually will get some of this on the brush and actually just tap it on the back of my hand and then go in to my cheeks. I'm going to take my beauty blender and just kind of tap on top of that. Kind of just mesh foundation, like the contour, kind of mesh all of that together. All right, I think our next step for the face is going to be highlight, but I don't like to apply highlight until after I set the face, so we're going to wait just a little bit and move on to the eyes. The eyes are going to be the simplest eye look probably ever. So just let me grab a palette. Okay, so, oh, I guess I can move this now, huh? We're going to first prime the eyes with our Morphe primer. Just gonna take a little bit on the fingers. That was too much. That's okay. No big deal. We're just gonna place that on the eyelid and just blend that in. Lately, I've really been loving to do my eyes first just because it gives you so much freedom. You can just really play with the colors and kind of expand your eye. Not expand your eye. Expand your eyeshadow. But anyways, it's nice because then you can just take a makeup wipe and just really clean up the edges afterwards. But today's look is seriously going to be just like a bippity boppity boo. This was so easy. One step, one and done type of a thing. I'm going to use the Tati beauty palette for this, but I just want to show you the shade. This is such an easy one. You can even just lay down translucent powder if you want it to be super, super, super simple. But it's this shade right here. This is the matte Aura, so it's kind of just like a light, it's just a light color. It's really, really easy. I guarantee you probably have that in one of your eyeshadow palettes. If not, just a second. As I was saying, if not, just use a translucent powder and it'll just be that easy. So I'm just going to kind of tap into Aura, tap off the excess, and just lay that right down on the eye. I like using like a lighter shade like this instead of a translucent powder just because it does kind of brighten up the eyes just a little bit more, and it really gives your eyes, honestly, I feel like it gives them the look of being more awake and brighter. So if you want to, you could stop here and this could be everything that you do. I like to brighten up the inner eye a little bit too, so for this one I'm actually going to take the Sequin shade of Aura. It has a little bit of sparkle in it, but you could just use this simple shade to do the inner corner as well. I'm going to take just a little bit of that and do the inner eye magic because I just think this one has a little bit more of a brightening effect. So we're just going to stop there and we'll be full on simple. If you wanted to do an extra little pop, you could maybe do a little bit of a light caramely brown shadow right in the crease just to kind of give your eyes a little bit more depth. And you could do a little bit of a caramely brown shadow under your eye if you wanted to. Or maybe you could add sparkles even to the lid. If that's your jam, if you want to spice it up and add a little bit more sparkle, you can. I'm going to go in with eyeliner, so I'm going to go put this on really quick. I'm also going to do my brows and then we'll come back for the final few steps. Okay, I'm back. So what I did while I was gone, I put on some of the Smashbox liner. So this is the Smashbox Always On Liquid Eyeliner. Again, this is just because I don't have a drugstore one. However, you could easily just take a brush like this one. So that's just like an angled brush. Get it wet by either using water or using a setting powder or something, and dip that in a powder, like a black powder, or you could even use brown if you wanted to be a little bit more subtle. Then you could create like a nice eyeliner just super, super easily. I personally like liquid eyeliner for this look, but if you wanted to go even simpler, you could just use a powder. Put on some mascara after I curled my lashes. I used a mix. I would have just used the L'Oreal Lash Paradise Mascara. However, I've been really needing to use up this one. So this is the Bad Gal Bang mascara from, I think it's, Benefit. Oh, I definitely would have gotten that name wrong. This is the waterproof one. I knew it. Oh my gosh. I accidentally bought the waterproof Lash Paradise. I've been wondering why that has been so hard to get off at night. I can't believe I did that. Anyways, that's what I used. No wonder. That is so funny. What a goob. Okay, next, we moved in to brows. I have been really loving this Billion Dollar Brows Universal Brow Pencil. I would say this is for brown shades, particularly warmer brown tones. If you have really dark brows or blonde brows, don't use this. You're not going to like it. I got this on sale at Marshall's, so you might be able to still find it there, or TJ Maxx. And then I went in with just a tiny bit of the Jeffree Star Concealer and this flat brush just to do a little bit of lining right underneath my brows. And then I just tapped that out. So that's where we've gotten so far. Now it is time for setting spray. I'm gonna use this one from Morphe. However, if you want your makeup to stay on during the whole party events, I would definitely use Urban Decay. I've been loving using both, but to not be so extra, you could just use one. I love using this one, the Morphe one, to just moisturize my face, and then I actually use, this might sound crazy you guys, but I really feel like using a hairdryer to dry it. The heat just like meshes everything together, and I'm not joking, it has helped my makeup stay on longer. I know this sounds crazy, but you might want to try it. You never know. So I would spray this on, which I'm going to do. Then I'd usually take my hairdryer and dry it, and then I would apply this and do the same thing, so I would dry it. So it's like a double ultra sealed layer of setting powder. But again, if you don't want to be as extra as me, then just use one. Either or, they both work great. I just realized that I usually do that before I put on mascara though. My lashes are long, so if I put on setting spray after I do my lashes, it gets on the top of my brows, or the bottom of my brows, like right on my brow bone. It'll hit that, and then my lower lashes will get on my under eye, which is even worse, you guys, because then I cannot, like, it messes up the concealer and everything, especially if I've already set it. So I guess I'll just have to be really careful. Okay, well, I'm gonna go spray this on my face. My hair always goes crazy when I do that. So that is done. So now let's put on some highlighter. For highlighter, I am going to go a little bronzy. So I'm going to take this one from Laura Geller. So I'm just going to take a little eyeshadow brush. This is just one that I got on Amazon. This is in the shade Gilded Honey. It's their Baked Gelato Swirl Illuminator. Oh, so it's supposed to make me glow from the inside out. I'm going to put this on my nose and right up here on my cheekbone. I'm going to put a little bit under my brows. I often will skip this step though, especially since I have oily skin. I don't wear highlighters as often as I would like to. This one's nice because it really doesn't accentuate too much texture, which some of them will do. And it gives this really pretty nice glow. All right, I definitely did just a little bit too much, so let's just... All right, so now for the last part, the part I'm most excited for. This really gives this look such a pop, and it's so beautiful. I feel like this looks so good on basically everyone. Such a gorgeous, like, classy look. I just love it. It's so fun. Definitely takes a while to get used to wearing a color like this. It looks so good, especially when you have a more calmed down eye look. If you have a bold eye look, you just don't want the two to be competing. So usually if I wear a really bold color like this, I'll do a more natural or basically nothing eye. However, if you wanted to go in with a nude, if red is not your style, a nude would also be super, super beautiful. That's a whole different side of a classy look. So either or would be gorgeous. A lot of people don't like to wear red lipstick, especially if they're going to a party that they might eat because they don't want the lipstick to come off. However, I have a solution to your problems. This is a kiss-proof lipstick. I never worried about lipsticks before. Then I met my husband and I decided, like, you know what? I want something that's going to be long wearing, something that I can kiss him on the cheek with or kiss him on the lips with, and it's not going to just rub off on him because that drives him crazy. But I still wanted to be able to wear lipsticks, right? So I went on the hunt and I watched so many YouTube videos, like best long wearing lipstick basically. The one I ended up getting is the Rimmel London Provocalips. It's a 16-hour wear kiss proof lip color, and my favorite all-time favorite shade is, what shade is this? I should know, shouldn't I? This is the shade 550 Play with Fire. This stuff lasts so long. Like, you could eat a burger and this would not come off your lips. It's that good. I should have purchased this in every single shade. I did end up buying 3, one of which I did return. The shade just was malfunctioning. It was weird. It did not work the same as these 2 did, and that was a really, really light nude. It just did not last as long. But this one is the one that I honestly get the most compliments on, which that actually would look really pretty with this look today too. This would be really beautiful. This is the shade 430 Wish Upon a Berry. Put a little bit on so you can see kind of, the lines aren't gonna be perfect and whatnot, but I wanted you guys to see what this would look like on with this look. It's so pretty. So that is one of the looks you could do. I was going to go in with this lip liner from e.l.f., but honestly, this is not my favorite lip liner. I just use it because it's the only red shade that I have. This is in the shade Dark Red. I think that's just a little bit too warm toned for the lipstick that we're gonna be using today. So we're just gonna go without and just put this straight on. You wanna make sure that your lips are nice and clean, and it's better if they're moisturized and not cracky. If your lips are cracking and chapped, I would definitely go exfoliate or and put on a lip. I'm stumbling over all the words today. Oh my gosh. You guys are so patient with me, seriously. Okay, if your lips are chapped, I would definitely go exfoliate and put on a good lip moisturizer like the Bite Beauty Lip Mask. There's the EOS one. That one's a really good one as well. Put on something to moisturize before you start your makeup routine, so that way by the time you get to your lips, they're gonna be nice and moisturized. Let's just put this on. I'm not gonna talk while I do this or I'm gonna totally mess it up. You have to be really careful because once it dries down, especially with red, it's a very tedious color. So after you apply the color, you want to try to make your lips not touch and wait for the color to dry completely. This is a 2-step situation. These are really cheap though. I mean, it's Rimmel London, so this is a drugstore brand. Another thing I like to do while this dries is smile. I look so silly right now. Oh my gosh, I'm just like, where's my fan when I need it? That's better. But if you smile while this dries, it ensures that it gets all in the creases of your lips. So if you don't smile, it can basically not get in the creases, and then when you do, it's gonna look kind of crinkled. So you want this to dry completely, and then we're going to apply the other step to it. Okay, so this dries down matte, and when it dries, it should not come off on your finger. Oh, that came off a little bit, so that heart wasn't quite dry. When you know it's dry, you should be able to like put your lips together and feel them kind of pull apart like this. So when it does that, you know that it's ready for the step 2. So now we're gonna apply this all over it. This is the Real Protective Seal. Once that is applied, you have this beautiful, glossy, deep, classy red lip. It is now kiss-proof. There's nothing on my hands except for they're just really pale and veiny. I need to go actually pick up some more of these colors because this is super pretty. I popped on some pretty little like ruby red earrings. My husband loves the rubies and I thought this would be perfect so it can match with our lips. This is the final look, the super simple holiday kind of more bold look. I do want to mention that you want to take this with you to the party because it's super important to keep reapplying this gloss. When your lips get dry, because you naturally lick your lips like food's gonna get on them, once the gloss is removed and your lips start drying out, that's when they can start cracking and start coming off. So keep this with you, or you can apply your favorite lip gloss. The Bite Beauty Lip Mask would be great. Anything that kind of has a more like waxy or very moisturizing substance to it, that'll help keep your lips moisturized. But for the most part, it's gonna last a good while. I hope you guys have so much fun at whatever holiday party you're going to. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me. This was such a nice kind of relaxing, unwinding evening for me, and I hope that it was for you too. If you would like to subscribe to see me again, I would love that. I would love to have you part of our little YouTube family that we have here. Subscribe button right down. Actually, I think it's over here. I always get that mixed up. But anyways, I hope to see you back on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I hope you're having a wonderful, happy holidays. Merry Christmas, you guys. Mwah. Look, it didn't come off on my fingers. I just love it.